Hello, Rowena. Oh my gosh, why are you crying? That is not the emoji I want to see. What is going on? Are you okay? Oh, you sent a message. Rowena is here. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's happy tears. Rowena is happy to be here, and she is crying happy tears of joy. You scared me. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was like, no, what is going on? Hello, Rowena.
Hello, can you hear me? I've got my headphones in today. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, I hear you.
Yeah, good. Oh my God, I so need today. I so needed this today. There's a lot going on. It's a crazy time.
Ooh,
Eh,
crazy week after the eclipse. That is so in tune. The madness.
Oh my, it is actually mad. It is actually mad. My program manager sent me a message today. And I said, it made me laugh. And I said, Lord knows I need a laugh right now. The world is mad. And he's like, if he can't, he sent he's like, the best recipe for this is a funny GIF.
Right, absolutely. Ugh, and I'm so glad that you have that support because it's like I don't know if they have this saying in English, but in Spanish, in Puerto Rico, we like to say, "I'm gonna cry so as not to laugh." I mean, no, wait, the other way. Dang it! Why am I always switching things around? I'm gonna I'm gonna laugh so as not to cry. That's so
Crying
funny
can be
how I always
senseless.
switch things around. I'm not dyslexic. I just do that. It's so weird.
It's great. Hey, Graciela, you've got a little bit of feedback on your mic, just so you know. I'm not sure where
Ooh,
that's coming from.
do you still hear it?
Uh, Speak again?
Do you still hear it?
Nah, that's better now.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Yes, welcome. Welcome, Rodney. Rowena and I are having a laugh because she said hello with a crying emoji, and I was like, what's wrong? But it was happy tears because we're here together. Yes, so we are going to talk about the madness. Let me tell you, we have been talking about the madness pretty much all day. And I just saw a meme on Instagram literally like 20 minutes ago. You know how, here's the thing about spirit or divine guidance. You can really just stick to prayer and looking inscription and pondering and whatnot. But if you really believe that everything has a rhythm and everything has a reason, then you also have to believe that when you get on your social media, that first post that is right there on your feed is for you. Like, how are you going to believe one thing and not the other? Right? And so I can't even begin to count the many times I open Instagram and the very first post speaks to me directly. And it just happened like 20 minutes ago, starting with the fact that there was a humpback whale in the corner. My son is obsessed with whales. He just got a whale today. And oh my gosh, I got it. Yay. Okay, sorry about that. I got fairies flying around here. Okay, so when I read this Instagram post, it's about the madness that you're bringing up, Rowena, and about how people are showing their true colors as we speak this weekend, 1 week after the lunar eclipse. And it's just, I was like, I'm so happy to know it's not me being dramatic. And it feels so good to know it's not me making like nonsensical connections or making things up or, just being too sensitive or whatever. Like, it feels good to know that what I am feeling is an energetic thing that's actually going on. And it's sad to be on the other side of it, right? Like, we don't want to be on the other side of people in our family or people in our experience showing their true colors because there's a negative connotation to that, right? And so it's just lots of unnecessary drama. And I'm so happy that we get to kind of unravel it all today to see where we are going. And like I told you, eclipses are intense. And Rowena, did I share with you the video this morning of the moon and how it affects the tide all over the world?
Had it had finished, the viewing time had finished by the time I woke up this morning and had a look at it. So I missed it. I
But
missed
it's
it.
not a post. I mean, it's not a story, it's a post. It should still be there.
It wouldn't, it didn't, yeah, I'll have to go and have a look at it. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I
I'm
didn't.
gonna find a way to share it with you because that also feels really good. It's a video, it's a obviously a digitally created video. There's many out there right now where you can see the the passage of the planets and how they draw, like, geometrical figures in the universe and how beautiful that is. And people can get to do this digitally because of the information that they get from NASA. So that's amazing. And the one that I shared with my subscribers is the one where the moon is going around the earth and they're showing how the water, right, which I've told you that the moon has a deep effect on the tide, and so it also affects the water in your body, how the moon moves, and with it moves the tide all over the world. And it was so fascinating, and it felt so good because I'm like, this is what I've been telling y'all all along. And here it is in visual form, created by someone else, which means I didn't make it up. It's science, and I'm so happy to get like the visual proof of what I've been talking about this whole time, because it is very important and intense. And the moon, I was also talking with Peter, one of the members of our audience. Hopefully, he can make it tonight because we were also talking. So he saw that video, so he's commenting and sending information back. And I'm like, yeah, like the moon is its own thing. And in fact, if you look at the science of it, our Earth spins in its axis the way that it does every 24 hours and then every 360 some days around the sun and whatever, because it has the moon as an anchor, this satellite going around it. So it's so much more important than we give it credit for, right? And it's used in agriculture. You can find the moon calendar from the farmer's market, and it'll tell you when to chop off your hair if you want it to grow, or when to chop off your hair to prevent it from growing. It's so much more intense and so much more alive than we give it credit, for or to. And so I'm just very happy to find these things in my research and to be able to share them with you all. Hello, Curtis. Welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, no, it's like the whole lunar thing. I was born on April 22nd. So depending on the lunar phases, I love how you talk about how the for me it's fluid retention. Like I always know when my body's going to be um, retaining more fluid than it will
Mm,
when the moon. It kind of rolls with the tides, in a
right.
sense. Yeah.
Right. Well, if you've
So
never made sense of it, it would be great to make sense of it now that you're learning more about it. And all these things will start making more sense. And the thing about making sense of things is that it allows you to then prevent them if they're not good for you, because retaining water is not good. We're
oh, it's
talking
not.
about bloating, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now you can find ways to prevent it because you are keeping tabs on the moon. And I've been doing this for so long, and it's like I'm finally on that rhythm because we have these conversations. So
And I have
yeah.
too for many years. Like, no, but everybody always thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, I know when I'm going to, like, you just know. Like, I've known this for years. But then talking about it, you almost sound like a little bit crazy. I don't know. But
Well, it's not
it's
crazy,
true.
it's just something that,
It's not.
yeah, it's been kept a cult
Yeah.
for so many years, right? I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
there's civilizations that had the moon as a deity. I know that for a fact as well. And so patriarchy comes along and kind of, shuns these things or these topics or these entities or these agents or whatever, and it
No,
just
I,
doesn't
I
change the fact. It doesn't change
no,
the
it
fact,
doesn't.
like
Yeah.
it doesn't
Right.
change the fact that it's there and it has a deep biological, psychological, scientific effect on everything. So why not try to understand it a little bit better and live a better life? Because in the end, that's what we're all trying to do here, right? We're trying to make sense of
Right.
things so that we can thrive, so that we can be hopeful, so that we can create, so that we can just be the best version of ourselves that we can. And the moon is really interesting because it sheds light on things that are kept in the dark. And as much as that hurts or sucks or brings about drama that we really don't need, that's also part of growing and evolving. And the sooner you get past the hurdle of, shedding light on things that you've kept hidden, the easier it'll be, or the faster you will just level up and continue to grow and magnify your calling, your gifts, your creativity, and all the things I've been speaking about. So, again,
Absolutely.
thank you for being here. It's
Thank
going
you.
to be a
Yep.
great discussion, of course. Yes. So, hang around. Um, you're welcome to stay on the stage, but thank you. I appreciate that. I want to say hello to Rodney and Carletta. Welcome, Carletta. I'm so happy that you're here. Let's go ahead and share this with the world. And I also know of at least two people who are watching right now on YouTube because they don't have Fireside. So, welcome. Thank you so much for watching. So happy that you're here. And if you're catching this on the replay, I want to say thank you for tuning in. So, we went straight into the discussion because Rowena was here right away and she sent me a crying emoji and I was like, oh no, what's going on? But it was happy tears because we were here and she said she needs this. And I'm so grateful and so happy to be able to, you know, dive into this subject and make sense of some things that may be happening, the madness of it all. But welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. We meet every Monday, Moon Day, to discuss the magic of making sense of things, putting things together, and living your best life. That's the goal, right? And of course, doing it all with grace, not with me, although I'm happy to tag along. Absolutely. I'll be a passenger to the end of the world if I don't have to drive or cook. And so, it's with grace, like with you, with the grace of whatever you believe or, want to call it, or however you define grace. In the book club, we're reading Panache Desai's You Are Enough, and he describes grace as the acknowledgement of the fact that every single moment is perfect. Ooh, so we can talk about that because how do we see the perfection in the madness or in the drama or in people showing their true colors and you being hurt in the process? Like, how do you acknowledge the perfection of such, you know, dramatic events or ruckus? And this is what this season is all about. So we've talked about Scorpio season, going in deep, deep fears, deep transformation, but it's also about deep secrets. And of course, the full moon shedding light on some of those things. So this is where the part of people showing their true colors may come about because those things that were deep hidden are now coming to the surface because of the season and the eclipse and all of that energy, right? And it's so funny because some of those things may come to the surface and people may not be aware, right? There's a very specific word when it comes to judgment, which is intent. And we've also talked about intention a lot, and the power of intention. Intention is everything. Intention is the main ingredient. Your intention is pretty much the only thing you can control, because you absolutely have no control over the outcome of things. You only have control of what you bring to the table. If somebody else flips the table on you, then you have no control over that. Or if somebody doesn't eat or doesn't like what you bring to the table, then you have no control over that either. But you do have control over what you bring and what your intention is, right? Well, when the negative thing happens and somebody's just not aware of what they're doing and how these things are coming to the surface, then there's a level of compassion that should be, favored, because they don't know what they don't know. Bless their heart, right? Now, if you're experiencing drama with someone that you just knows what they're doing, and does it anyway, then that's the kicker. That's the one part that I really want to focus on, because then how are you maneuvering it? How are you handling it? How are you returning? The moon was just in Cancer, now is in Leo. So this whole weekend, if you experienced a lot of drama this weekend with some of the things that I'm talking about, the moon in Cancer is about going within. Remember, the crab has a hard shell exterior, but inside it's all mushy. And so that's you, right? We have this body, but inside we have our heart, our emotions, our intellect, our feelings, right? And so how are you going within to handle these things, to heal? We're going to talk about healing as well, because this whole week there's a lot of energy healing energy, I should say, going on later in the week. And so if you are pondering things like regret or resentment or anger, Mars is in retrograde still. So you might have felt legit anger and shock at some of the things that transpired during the weekend. So if you were sitting in that type of energy, you might want to focus this week on chakra healing. Your heart is where all that resentment sits on. All of that anger, when it involves someone else, it sits on your heart chakra. So how can you maneuver and make sure that you take that time for self-care? This is going to be huge this week, right? And then right now, I'll go straight into the moon cast, because it's very important. Right now, the moon is in Leo, and it's going to be in Leo until Wednesday. And the thing about Leo is that it's a fire sign. So think about the sun, which is the opposite of the moon. The sun is I am, ego, identity, intellect, all of that, not necessarily the prefrontal cortex making sense of things and making connections, but more of that lizard brain that says, this is it is what it is, and I want it this way, and me, and I am this, and I am what I am, and I don't care what people say, right? And then you add the Mars retrograde energy of that, and it's like, you're more stern in not really growing or evolving. And the thing about that is that I bring it up. That was a lot, so let me take a breather. I bring it up because I'm trying to make sense and to bring a storyline from the whole weekend and what has or may have transpired with other people. And of course, this doesn't apply to everyone. So if this doesn't resonate with you, just leave it where you found it. And we're going to talk about your week in a second, so just bear with me. So, but if it does resonate with you, then please stand by. So making this connection of how everything is transpiring, and usually when people show their true colors, they tend to be very entitled, or they tend to be just fixated on what they've done. Some people just don't really care about who they bring down, in the process of doing what they do or how they do it. And the thing about the moon in Leo is that it highlights criticism and how you maneuver criticism. How do you handle it? And the thing about criticism is that we tend to think about people criticizing our work, people criticizing our content, people criticizing us at work, all of those quarterly reviews, we can count that as criticism as well. I, as an empath, I always hated meeting my manager for any quarterly review. I've always, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble. I never do anything right. That's very empath energy, right? And so, um, so we tend to kind of like overthink it and make it really big. When in reality, we can bring it home and simply ponder, am I taking things personal when they're just not really personal? And that's going to be a question to ask yourself, Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what's going on. Hello, Shannon, and hello, Mel, and Sean. Thank you for being here. We're talking about the moon cast. We're transferring from Leo, Wednesday coming into, we're still in Leo until Wednesday. And how it can be a lot about criticism, but we can just narrow it down to, are we taking things personally that we shouldn't take personal? If your spouse or your partner or your roommate or your BFF is saying something that just ticks you the wrong way, and you all of a sudden are moody about it, that's the moon in Leo. And if you're moody about something that somebody else said, then you're leading with your ego, which is very moon in Leo and very fire energy. And so how are you going to maneuver that, right? We're going to be reading the 4 agreements next year in the book club, and one of the agreements is not taking anything personally. So maybe if you're struggling with that, you might want to join the book club next year. See what I did there? So that's going to be the moon in Leo. And then it's going to go straight into Virgo. And Virgo, as an earth sign, it's all about organization and fixing things that may not need fixing, like people, for example. And the reason why I bring this up in this way is because I've encountered, in this whole Empath Unite community, people with a savior complex who want to just help others and go out of their way to make other people's problems their own. That's moon in Virgo. It's like, not only am I going to put all of my ducks in a row, I'm going to put your ducks in a row if it kills you, because I'm feeling it and I'm just going right with it. And so step back, ponder whether what you're really trying to organize is yours to organize and make sense of and make an order of. And if it is, then by all means, with the moon in Virgo, it's just great to dive into that energy and try to make sense of what happened this weekend, or try to make sense of everything, or try to make sense of the healing that I mentioned that it's going to be taking place, right? By Thursday, we're probably going to be kind of stepping out of that dramatic madness energy that Rowena brought up in the beginning and making sense of, I need to get over it. I need to move on. It is what it is. Some people never change. Forgive and forget. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for me. I need to forgive so that I can move on. Probably by Thursday, we're all going to be over it. That's my hope. So there's something to look forward to then. And then it's going to be in Libra. And as you know, we've talked about the moon in Libra as well, because we had some of the, one of the full moons or the new moons, I don't remember which right now, so let's not, but was in Libra. And Libra is all about keeping the balance. And it's all about, after you make sense of it with the moon in Virgo, how are you going to position it in a way that just keeps you, just tethered together to yourself so that you don't fly away, right, in nonsense or in paranoia or whatever? How do you just remain rooted, centered, at peace? How do you make sense of it all in a way that you remain in balance? Because anything that's off balance is going to be detrimental to your soul, not to anyone else. And we can also ponder, the balance of empathy and apathy. Ooh, it's so easy to just step back into apathy and be like, I don't care about this person, cutting cords, cutting contact, I don't want to see them, I don't want to talk to them. And you're probably thinking about those things right now because the moon is in Leo and all of that drama. is very fresh. But maybe by the end of the week, you've moved a little bit the needle towards that center of Libra, where everything is balanced and you can just find a happy medium that you can just be at peace with. And that's it. That's the Mooncast for this week. Yay! That's like a lot. That's a lot of drama and a lot going on. So I hope that that resonated. Let me know if it did. You can send a comment or any type of reaction. But there's definitely a lot going on. And then next week, we're going to have the new moon. And we're going to talk about it because it's going to be the end of eclipse season. And that just, officially opens up that 6-month window between now and next year, the next eclipses, and how the season is going to transpire. And I hope to see you all in 6 months so that we can look back on this conversation and see how far we have come, how far we have grown, how much we have transformed, and the things that we have created. It's going to be so beautiful. Oh my gosh. So yes, thank you for being here. What should we move to next? Yes, thank you for that. So earlier, we talked about what are you creating? Okay, so this was the question. Sorry, I'm trying to remember it as we speak. What are you creating with the wisdom of transformation? So we don't need to discuss. You're welcome to come up on the mic and share. But this is the journal prompting of today. So Rowena, this is for you. What are you creating with the wisdom of this transformational energy that you are experiencing? Whether you're the one transforming. Oh, go ahead. You're off mute.
I was just going to say, I'm sitting here laughing the whole time, laugh crying, because everything you're saying is just 100% exactly like you've just described my emotional state over like Friday, this weekend, today, like exactly the emotional journey that I've been on. And I'm looking forward to getting to that point where I'm just like a little more detached from it because it's been very activating. And so, yes, and incidentally, the card I pulled today was the wisdom card this morning when I was like looking for some some direction and guidance. But the wisdom of transformation, it's interesting because sitting with that transformational energy for the last month, pretty much, and
That's right.
I've been cycling through that, and it's been like a trial by fire. Literally feel like my transformation has been like a burn pretty much, even though it's been raining nonstop here, getting flooded out. So yes, and the learning from that, I guess the wisdom from that has been to sit with what is happening and to trust the process. I think what you talked about at the beginning, the top end of the show, where you were speaking about how if we trust that there's divine timing for everything, then what is coming through at this point or what's happening at this point in time is for a reason. And I've very much been pondering the thought to why, part of the moon work we've been doing over the last month is about moving on, finding a new job, moving into a new space, and that's just felt so stalled. And I've been sitting with, well, why is it so stalled? And all the things I normally do, normally shift this energy or make things work, it's not working. Why isn't this working? And then this week there's just been so much transformation happen in my work, and people leaving and people getting fired, and it's just been an absolute crazy show. And the senior, I already spoke to you this privately, but my senior leader came to our team and said, you guys are experts in the organization with the work that you do and strategy and change and projects, and I need insight. I need help to understand what's going on, why people are not engaged, why we're losing people, what's happening. So I was like, this is why I'm still here, to offer up the opportunity for some shared understanding.
Right.
So yeah,
Yes.
so that's what's been coming through for me, and I'm kind of, it's been hard. I'm trying to lean in, and fight my way through the Hunger Games that are happening, power games that are happening in work at the moment. It's like Hunger Games, fight for the
Yes.
survival of the fittest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think probably having the thought in the back of my mind that I'm ready to change, I'm ready to move on. It's like there's a level of like being able to be somewhat detached from that. Like I'm not holding on to fight for my life. I'm able to offer some perspective with, hopefully, not like, I think I was listening to you talking about, the offering of help. It's like, okay, what is best, most appropriate in this situation? What is the need that I can support with, as opposed to, this is my opinion and I know everything and blah, 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 kind of
Right.
like, how can I, with compassion, offer up some wisdom and guidance? Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So good, Rowena. Plus, please give her a hand because this is so good. And I want to mention, yeah, thank you. I say that because, so we're going to bring it to you and we're going to unravel it even more. Because think about the survival of the fittest between your ego, the moon in Leo, and your emotions, which is the moon period, right? And did you mention your moon is in Cancer?
My sun sign's Cancer, my moon's in Sagittarius,
Okay. So,
Scorpio rising.
right. Ooh, no wonder you're on fire during Scorpio season. Bless your heart. Okay. So, um, the reason why I bring it up is because survival of the fittest between the ego and just your subconscious or your conscious, and how they're always at each other's throats, because as we've learned as well in many of the books that we have shared collectively, a few of the members of the audience are also members of my book club, so they've been following along. The ego is not your enemy. Like, the ego is there to serve you. The problem is that the ego does what it does out of habit. So breaking those habits is that transformation as well. It's like, no, I'm not going to touch the phone. No, I'm not going to check, all of my notifications. No. And so it's like, how do you do that to the ego? No, you're not getting your way right now. It's so easy to say no to the toddler, but not so easy to say no to myself, right? Because I'm an adult and I can do what I want. And I feel like that's the ego saying, you can do whatever you want. When in reality, my conscious soul is saying, you should just center and not react and not do anything and just be, which is so hard sometimes. And so, you're experiencing all of these things at work, but you're also at a battle within with the fact that having these conversations is bringing a lot of things to light, to your awareness, to your conscious. And this type of internal transformation is also at play. So ponder, who is the fittest, or who do you want to be the fittest? And I don't mean you, Rowena, I mean all of us in general, right? Because unfortunately, this life is really about survival of the fittest. Historically speaking, it's been proven, right, to this day. And so within, who is the fittest, or who do I want to make the fittest, and really aid in that direction? Do I want to lead with my ego all the time? We've already learned that it's not really healthy. It's borderline narcissistic to do that, right? We've talked about many things that kind of draw that conclusion. So if the heart needs to win that battle and be the fittest, then how are we healing our heart during the madness and during all of this transformational energy, and handling people that are just not nice in how they
Oh,
act and how
so
they do
true.
things? Yeah.
So true. It's resonating so much. Yeah. So true. Like today, it was like I found myself with that sting, like wanting to react to some really, intense stuff that was coming my way, and just being cut off from, like, one of my colleagues like drew a line in the sand and was like, I'm doing this, you do what you do. And I'm like, whoa, where's the
Mm-hmm.
collaboration we normally have? Where's the sense of camaraderie? And I was like, found myself wanting to do that, like lash out. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, no. I love that space on the end, like, no, take some time out. I went and got a massage. I'm like, I'm going to go and breathe this and chill out.
Yes.
And then I'll come back to it.
Yes.
And then we've actually this afternoon had an incredibly compassionate and, understanding conversation, which has actually enlivened both of us. So it's been a much better
Oh,
outcome.
I love that.
Yeah.
So emphasis on the
Yeah.
word sting, which is,
Yeah.
Scorpio sting. So do
Yeah.
not sting your enemy. It's very
Golden,
tempting.
golden. I'm going.
It's very tempting to do so, but yeah, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm
Uh,
going to step down from the stage. Thank you so much.
of course,
I love listening
Rowena.
to you and give some space for some other people. Thank you.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. So, Curtis, you're still up on stage. Tell us about your week. What are you looking forward to this week? Aside from all of it, right? Because I'm really looking forward, like Rowena was saying, I'm also looking forward to finding that balance of all of these emotions and just being. And next weekend we're going to be prepping for Thanksgiving, so it's all going to be like homey kind of conversations and plans. So what are you looking forward to, Curtis?
I'm looking forward to the healing process here. And then I know it's going to be a challenge because, you keep stating about Mars going into next year.
Until
So
January 12th. Mars is in retrograde, but it's not just Mars. There's a ton of things happening that I
there
never
is,
bring up, and I'll bring them up as they happen and
right.
whether it pertains to the conversation. But there's a ton of things happening up in the sky. And I'm not sure if
Yes,
I told you on this show, because we also have the wisdom
right.
conversation, but Mercury, Venus, and Mars, when they are in retrograde, it affects us more than with Neptune and Saturn and Pluto, or, because those are farther away
Yeah, I was
planets.
going to say farther away. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Hmm.
So here's the interesting thing. And we talked about this earlier. Today is 11 14
1422.
to, yeah. And
Choo choo!
choo
Here
choo
comes the
train
train.
coming in from Philly. Yeah. All right. Well, oh, geez, I just gave up my location.
It's so magical. I just love it because in Puerto Rico, you don't hear any trains. There are no trains whatsoever. You
Okay.
can get to the other
Yeah.
side of the island in just 2 hours.
It drives me nuts. Fortunately, they don't do the choo choo after 11 p.m., but it starts
Oh,
up at 5
good.
a.m. So like
Oh,
there's
what a
like this
tender
whole
mercy.
anyway. But so my birthday is 4/22,
Hmm.
and
Yes.
I found out I added up 111, which is 3,
Hmm.
and then everything in Happens Day happened in threes. It was crazy, right?
Mm.
So the number 3 has always held powerful symbolism. Think about good things coming in threes: the birth, life, death cycle, the mind, body, soul connection.
Hmm.
The threes, the 3 acts as a typical story. Wherever the number 3 shows up in your life, it it's generally an omen of creativity, communication, optimism, and curiosity. And that's why I mean, personally, that's why I think we're all here today. So
Mm.
that being
Yeah.
said, I did a little research into it, but I was like, I knew there was a special meaning behind today, and and just being a positive influence and everything that you described today. Like, I hate using 100%, but yeah, it was all right there. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes me feel really good because I'm putting all of these things together and making sense of them all, and of course being able to bounce things off of you all. It just reassures that I'm on the right track with the connections that I am making, because this is a collective thing. And so the madness is not just individual like we have felt it. We had elections not long ago. All weekend long, I've heard about people being disappointed with results. And, politics are so tricky because most of the people who complain don't even go and vote. So it's so annoying to even
Right.
ponder those conversations. I'm like, we're not talking about politics. Did you
Yeah, I
vote?
voted.
No.
Yeah, and then
Well,
some people brought it up. Yeah, no, and some people brought it up, and I'm like, I studied American politics for years, and it is what it is. I wish we could go back to the. I wish everything was, set kind of set backwards in a sense,
right. Well, it's all
like
madness
in
too.
a
So that's the
positive way.
thing. Right. No,
Right.
I get it.
Not
But
not. I don't want career politicians, but we're not here to talk about politics. We're here to talk about the moon.
right. Well, what I wanted to say was that when I added 11, 14, and 22, it all adds up to 10, which is a number one. And
Ooh,
what that reminds me of is what I was saying earlier, which is how are you just, despite any sense of resentment, despite any betrayal, despite someone else dropping the ball and showing their true colors and how this affects you, how are
yeah,
you, the one, turning inward to just make sense of it all for yourself? Remember to forgive because it's for you, not for the other
that's right.
person. We were just discussing this with Donika Gunter on Twitter. Um, remember to go in for self care, self healing.
Yeah,
Hang out with people that really resonate as opposed to forcing interactions just because there's a sense of duty or a sense of urgency or just because you want to push. Like, I feel like pushing
you just
things that shouldn't be
can I tell you
pushed.
something really quick? I
Sure.
didn't mean to interrupt you.
But you
Um,
did. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I know. The light finally went out. Because I'm outside, and my neighbor's security light. As soon as you were saying that, it finally went out. I'm like, oh, good. I can finally see darkness and can see the sky. Anyway, sorry. I know I interrupted you, but
Is
it
that
was
it?
no, yeah. We'll leave it at that. It was just so cool because you were able to turn off the light.
I was able to turn off the light. I'm sorry, I'm lost.
Just yeah, your energy turned off the light. 'Cause I've been wanting this light to go off for the longest time because I want to like it's the only light that bothers me to like look into the sky that I can
Oh, I
see.
see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, now I know what you're saying. Well, I'm
Right.
glad that the light is off and that you can now see the moon, which is very thin and like a banana.
Yeah. And if you remember where you want to continue on.
Oh, yeah. So, anyway, the one. And, it reminded me of the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller. We've talked a lot about it as well.
Mhm.
And focusing on the one thing that you can control or the one thing that you can do to bring yourself closer to your goal. So, that's it for the week. It's going to be a beautiful week. It's a beautiful week already. This is
It
one
is.
of the things I love about the fact that my show is late on Monday because we've already proven what a beautiful day it is. And so it's going to be a great week, beautiful week already, even if there's drama, fire, all of this transformational stuff that is very uncomfortable, but learning to sit in that discomfort is where the magic is and where the leveling up and where the hope is. So if you can just, here's what I told my client on Saturday. A lot of my followers know that I have this one client that I see on Saturdays. I draw the line at one because it's Saturday. And
Right.
as you all know, I also don't coach on Sundays. And I was speaking with her, and I said to her that she's gonna be able to get over things, but first, she has to go through the things.
Yes.
You are going to get over it, but you have to go through it first. So it's like Rowena was saying, how are you going to survive the Hunger Games?
Yeah, no, I love what she said. It was beautiful, and yeah, it was classic.
Yes,
It's great.
yes. So thank you so much, Curtis. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. You're
Yep.
welcome. Let's go ahead and dive into this meditation, everybody. So Before we do that, I want to remind you about next week's episode. It is the new moon, so we will be discussing all of this, and we're also going to paint. Well, we're going to journal first, and we're going to paint. And as you know, this is what that looks like. I journaled and painted over it, but I brought some more examples because, excuse me, you don't get to really see my journaling when I do it for myself. So this is one of them. As you know, I interviewed Rami Astro a few weeks ago in September. It seems so far away, but it wasn't that far away. And this is one of his pictures where he has the moon and Jupiter and Saturn in a beautiful composite image. And then I added a little, what's the word? Shooting star and a quote from Book Club. This is a quote by Howard Falco. It says, this is a quote from his book, but I've seen this set just like that in so many other places. So all of that to say that this is not something we've never heard before, which is, as you believe it, so it shall be. And then this is another one from my personal collection. This is actually a ring that I have. I'm wearing it right now. And so I was like, what am I going to draw on top of the black? Like, what am I being called to paint? And so I looked at my hands and I'm like, oh, sure, I'll do my snake. And so that's what that is. And so this is what I do when I do the moon journaling all by myself. And so be here be here next week. We're going to go ahead and journal about the new moon thematic, things, and then we're going to paint over it. So all of that to say, bring your journal, bring your canvas, bring your paint, and create something beautiful that you can then look at, all of the time. This is definitely one of my favorites. This is from the Pink Moss moon back in February. And so it's probably going to stay there forever because it ended up being so nice. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here. What a beautiful conversation this has been. I'm so grateful for you. Everybody watching and everybody on the audience, know that you are welcome to join the stage in future episodes and share in this conversation. Let's unravel some of the drama that you may be experiencing. And of course, if you are not going through any of it, then I'm just glad that you're here and thankful that you watch and that you tune in. I've spoken to a few empaths who are like, you know what? I'm not going through any of this. And I'm like, well, that's great for you. That's awesome. But some of us are in the thick of it. And so for those of you in the thick of it, know that you're not alone. It's felt throughout the land. And I'm here for you. So hang tight, right? Hashtag empaths unite. So anyway, let's put both feet on the ground and settle into stillness. And we are gonna get soaked in the rain. The rain that's gonna put out all of that fire that Rowena was talking about. How did I know that you needed some rain in your life, even though I know it's been raining in Australia? We're gonna go ahead and ponder the rain within Rowena, so that we can settle some of that internal fire of anger, resentment, frustration, doubt. Feelings of betrayal is so painful when people just don't show up the way we would hope that they would. And I'm talking people that we really, care about, people in our life, people in our families, relationships, coworkers, people that really, really have an impact on our everyday well-being. And when they just kind of fall short, the same way that we can disappoint them, right? It definitely goes both ways. We are not perfect, but I'm glad that some of this resonated, and I just hope that you have a beautiful week. So let's go ahead and put both feet on the ground, shoulders back, open your chest, and ponder stillness and peace, and focus your attention on your normal breathing. Nice and slow. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just be here now. And with me, you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Just fill your lungs all the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go through your mouth, nice and slow. Long breath out all the way till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again. Deep, 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 deep breath in all the way through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it go. And as you let it go, I want you to imagine that you're sitting on a bench inside a botanical garden, somewhere lush, somewhere beautiful, just sitting there, taking it all in. And as you look up, clouds roll in. Thunder roars. And one by one, you feel tiny droplets falling on your skin as it begins to rain. And at first, you're instantly hot and bothered because you don't want to move, and what an inconvenience. You are just fine sitting on your on your bench and taking it all in. And you ponder the fact that it's ruined now that it's raining. But somehow, you don't move at all. And the rain, it's not cold, it's not hot. And as you take one deep breath in and one breath out, you realize you're quite comfortable in the rain. And you're not going anywhere. You tilt your face up at the clouds, rain dripping down your face. Take this moment and ponder how this water can heal you at a soul level. Satisfying every need. Overcoming every dramatic obstacle. Really fulfilling a need, a thirst for understanding, for emotional acknowledgement, and healing every single pore it touches. With me, take one breath in through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Just fill your lungs all the way. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go nice and slow through your mouth. Nice long breath out till you have no air. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again. Deep breath in through your nose. Fill your lungs. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. And as you let it go and you ponder all of this rain in this beautiful garden, bring your awareness to your hand on your heart, and remember, I am so loved, so protected, even through the fire of trials and transformation. I am aligned with every single thing that tells me I am moving out of comfort. I see it. I acknowledge it. And I receive it. I am so grateful for healing opportunities that touch my heart. And so, so grateful for a beautiful week ahead. I am cared for, supported, and so loved. Let's take one last breath through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Just fill your lungs, expand, shoulders back, fill your lungs all the way. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it go nice and slow through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again. Nice and slow through your nose, all the way. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it go. And as you let it go, bring your awareness to your feet. Wiggle your toes. Open your eyes and come back to me. Thank you so much for being here, Lanny. I hope I said that right. You're very welcome. You joined us right at the very end, but you're welcome to join us again next week at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a very in-depth conversation about our week and what we are going through and the madness and all of this transformation after the eclipse. So thank you for being here. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you for joining and for sharing and for interacting. Rowena, I'm so grateful that you were here and that I was able to help you make sense of all of these things. Thank you. And Curtis, thank you so much for being a guest tonight as well. I love you all. Hold on, brace yourself. This transformational topic this is not the end of it. As I told you, the eclipse opens up a 6-month window. So if you didn't transform this weekend, hold on. It might happen at any time. And it's not, I don't say that for you to be like on high alert or for you to just be paranoid, just waiting for the other shoe to drop. I say that so when the other, I say that so that when the shoe drops, you're like, oh, there it is. Now I know. And most importantly, now I know how to handle it. And now I know what to make sense of. And now I know how to maneuver it because you've joined this show and you've been able to have, these conversations. So thank you, everybody. What a beautiful conversation. I love you all. Everyone watching on the replay or on YouTube, thank you for tuning in. And of course, thank you to everyone listening on Spotify as well. Oh, thank you so much. I look like I'm 24 or 25. I appreciate that. I receive it. Thank you. Thanks so much, everybody. I will see you next moon day for the new moon. So don't forget your canvas, your sketchbook, your paint. We're going to paint and do it all. So I will see you then. Bye, everyone.